Good morning, class 12. The topic for today's session is emulsions. And children, if you remember, this term we have already done in the classification of colloidal solutions, where we did the term sol and solid sol, aerosol. If you remember, in the same table, you came across this term emulsion, which means when both the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium is in liquid state. As you can see here, liquid dispersed in another immiscible liquid is termed as emulsion. And the example of an emulsion, a common example of emulsion is milk. So when a liquid is dispersed in another liquid where both the liquids are immiscible, then we get an emulsion. And emulsions are classified into two categories. First is oil in water, another is water in oil. So this was the question asked this year. O by W or W by A? Oh, so this was the question that was asked this year. So this is very simple. Oil in water is abbreviated like this, O by W, and water in oil is abbreviated as W by O, where in this case oil is the dispersed phase, which is a liquid, and water is the dispersion medium, which is also a liquid. And in case of W by O, water is dispersed phase and oil is dispersion medium, and the state of both dispersed phase and dispersion medium is liquid. So these are the two categories in which the emulsions are classified, and the example of this category, oil in water, is milk. Milk is actually an emulsion where fat is dispersed in water. Okay, fat or ghee is dispersed in water. Okay, that is why you can extract out ghee from milk. And water in oil, the example of this category is cod liver oil or paint. Paint is also an example of emulsion, and this is a type where water is dispersed in oil. Okay, in this case water is in continuous phase, okay, because it is the medium, and in this case oil is in continuous phase. Now continuous phase means what? If you have to find out that if an emulsion solution is provided to you, or a colloidal solution of emulsion is provided to you, how will you find out that which category it belongs to, whether it is O by W or W by O? This can be tested with the help of dilution. Suppose if you are diluting this type of emulsion, that is O by W, then always remember, if you will add oil in it, it will be immiscible in milk. You can consider milk here as an example to understand. If you have to dilute milk, what will you do? You'll add water to it or you'll add oil to it? Obviously you'll add water to it. The milkman does this only. To dilute milk, he adds water, not oil. Why? Because water is the dispersion medium and it is the continuous phase. So whenever you have to dilute an emulsion, always remember it can only be diluted with the help of adding dispersion medium, never with the help of adding dispersed phase. And this is a method also of testing that what type of emulsion it is. So if you have to dilute this type, O by W, as in case of milk, you need to add water. And suppose you have to dilute paint. If you remember, you must have observed also, to dilute paint, the painters add a special type of oil to the paints. He never adds water to it, because water will not get mixed with paint. I am considering paint as the main example because this is a known example to you. So to dilute paint, a painter will always add oil to it. You must have seen him doing this at home also. Okay, and water, when you will add water to paint, it will be immiscible. Okay, I am talking about the emulsion paints, not that chuna wala paint. I am talking about emulsions. Okay, so I hope the difference between the two is clear. One is oil in water, other is water in oil, and this type of representation helps us to identify which one is the dispersed phase, which one is the dispersion medium. Remember the examples, because this year it was simply asked O by W. You were supposed to explain O by W, or W by O was asked, I don't remember exactly. Then you will explain with the help of example, and you can mention these points if you want. Then comes the next term, emulsifying agent or emulsifier. So children, basically what happens when otherwise if you will add milk, if you will add oil to water, you must have observed, or you can observe if you have not done this before, it will never get mixed up. Oil will never get mixed up with water, it will settle at the surface of the water. So that is an unstable emulsion. That is why we need an emulsifying agent or emulsifier to convert that unstable emulsion into a stable emulsion. So substances like soaps or detergents which helps in making emulsion stable are called emulsifiers or emulsifying agent. Okay, which helps in making a stable emulsion. So basically when you have to prepare emulsion, what do? You use emulsifying agent plus dispersion medium, and then dispersed phase is added slowly to these two so as to prepare an emulsion. In case of milk, children, it has a natural emulsifier in it. It has a natural emulsifier. The natural emulsifier is the milk protein casein that helps in stabilizing the emulsion. That is why we do not need to add any emulsifying agent from outside in order to stabilize this emulsion. Okay, some examples of the emulsifying agents for the two categories. For O by W type, for oil dispersed in water, proteins can be added, gums can be added, soluble soaps can be added to prepare an emulsion. And for W by O type, you can use insoluble soaps, long chain alcohols, lamp black. You need to just remember if in case it is asked, you suggest an emulsifying agent for this type or for this type. So at least remember two examples. Okay, so here it is mentioned, casein is the natural emulsifier which is present in milk, which is an oil and water type of emulsion. Soap is added as emulsifier to W by O type in order to stabilize it. So how does it work? Emulsifier form a protective layer over the dispersed phase in order to make it stable. So how does it happen? I'll tell you. So suppose if you are adding water to oil, W by O type of emulsion will be prepared first of all, but it will be unstable. You can do it practically and you can observe. It will never get mixed up. It will not form a uniform colloidal solution. It will be unstable. But the moment you will add soap to it, it will become a stable emulsion. Why? What happens? Because if you are dispersing water in oil or oil in water, what will happen? You will get the molecules of the two which is separately visible, but the moment you add soap to it, you know, soap is long chain salts of long chain fatty acids having a hydrophilic and an hydrophobic end. So these form separate micelles. The hydrophobic end, that is tail of the soap, forms micelle around the oil globule like this. Now you know that the part which is exposed outside, in case of micelle, if suppose this is oil droplet, the part of the soap which is exposed outside bears negative charge of carboxylate ion. Now because of the same negative charge over these many particles, there is a strong repulsion among the colloidal particles. So because of this, it doesn't get aggregated. It do not join with each other. As a result, it becomes a stable emulsion. So when you add soap to it, soap starts forming micelle with the oil droplets, and when they have the same charge, what happens? They start facing strong repulsions with each other, and that is why they do not coalesce with each other or do not get aggregated with each other, and as a result we get a stable emulsion. So this is how the emulsion or emulsifying agent or emulsifier functions. Now what is demulsification? As the name itself says, breaking an emulsion to yield the constituent liquid is called emulsification. What are the methods? The first method is by heating, cooling, or simply using a centrifuge. Or second is by chemical destruction of emulsifier. If you destroy the emulsifier, obviously the stability of the emulsion will be disturbed, so overall the solution will be destroyed. And by heating, cooling, and centrifuging, what happens, if you spin milk at a high speed, rotate it at a high speed, the cream from the milk gets separated. So obviously that cream is the fat part, the oil part, which gets separated. So obviously the emulsion is getting disturbed, it is getting demulsified. So this is the technique which is disturbing the emulsion or destroying the emulsion colloid. So these are the methods which can help in emulsification. Now coming to the application of colloids. So here are the applications mentioned. It is used in medicines, sewage disposal, purification of water. It is also used in cleansing action of soap, like missile formation. In purification of water, you can say alum is added to water, and what does alum do? It absorbs the impurities and settle down. Then formation of deltas, smoke precipitation, photography, artificial rain, smoke screen, rubber industry, tanning. So these are the various methods where the colloidal solutions finds application. Now I'm going to discuss with you the important ones. The first important one is delta formation. So delta formation occurs basically when river water meets sea water. Okay, when river water meets sea water, delta formation occurs. Delta formation occurs because of coagulation. Now why does this coagulation occur? This coagulation occurs because sea water contains electrolytes, whereas the river water contains clay, and when the two comes in contact with each other, they coagulate, and on coagulation, when it gets deposited over the years, delta formation occurs. This is how the delta formation takes place. These are some commonly asked applications which I have mentioned here. Then comes smoke precipitator. Smoke precipitator is actually what happens, the factories, before releasing out the smoke from the chimneys, they try to get rid of the harmful particles with the help of this smoke precipitators, which is known as Cottrell precipitator. In this type of plates are introduced which are charged, and when charged particles, smoke particles, moves from this passage, what happens, so the oppositely charged colloidal particles get attracted towards these plate and they get neutralized, so dust free smoke is released from this chimney. Okay, this is basically done to control the pollution. Now coming to this artificial rain concept. Artificial rain means the cloud formation has occurred, but it has not precipitated in the form of rain. So in such case, what happens? See, cloud consists of charged particles. Cloud consists of charged particles of water dispersed in air. Rain is caused by aggregation of these minute particles. When they become heavy, these cloud particles, when they become heavy, they precipitate in the form of rain. But at times it happens the cloud formation occurs, but the rain doesn't precipitate. So in that case, the artificial rain is made to happen, is made to precipitate by spraying some electrified sand of AgI. Okay, electrified sand of AgI, because these cloud particles are also charged, and when these oppositely charged electrified sand particles, sand of AgI, is dropped with the help of aeroplanes from the top, what happens? The coagulation of the clouds occurs, so it precipitates in the form of rain, and this is known as artificial rain. And now one more definition from the topic catalysis, which was asked this year also, shape selective catalysis. So this is basically based on lock and key hypothesis, which I told you also. So what is this, children? As the name itself tells you the answer, you can write down the answer in your own words if you read the name. Shape selective catalyst, the catalytic reaction that depends upon the pore structure of the catalyst and the size of the reactant and the product molecules is known as shape selective. That means if the reactant or the product, basically the reactant, if it fits into the pore of the catalyst, then only this reaction will proceed and will lead to product formation. And the example, some common example of shape selective catalyst is ZSM5 or zeolites. So this was asked this year, and it was asked before also, and it was there in your class 11 also. Clathrates, zeolites, it was there in class 11. You must have read this topic in class 11 also, children. So I hope these topics are clear, and I would say that try to go through all the application ones which are given in your NCERT. Just give it a reading. It is self-explanatory. If you'll just read it once, you'll be able to understand. The important ones I have already discussed with you. Read this also, tanning, because a question was asked in 2019 based on this, tanning or leather industry. So please read this application from NCERT and try to read all the applications, because one or the other application is asked every year in your board exam. So it is better, the basic principle behind all the application is same. So once you read it, you will be able to understand and apply it. So this finishes your chapter. I hope the chapter is clear. Revise everything, and the topic that I discussed with you today, that is emulsion, is a very important topic. Okay, and try to concentrate on the videos, and whatever you have missed out, go through it and ask your doubts from your teacher. Thank you, children. Take care.